Okay, so the document is wired up. I just launched a demo of this, and I took a screen snip of the document so we can look at it while the program is not running, but at the moment it is running. And yeah, so I'll take it from the top down, starting with the big picture across the top, and then the text in the order form. Okay, so where the heck is that? There it is. Okay, so just a reminder that, you know, when you have this document, this rectangle, and this is obviously in portrait format. There is a way to change it to landscape, but we'll just keep it in portrait. And we have to always kind of be aware of where we are location-wise in the document by way of X, Y coordinates. The X-axis is the horizontal axis, and then the Y-axis is, of course, the vertical axis. So I did create X and Y variables in the program to just kind of keep track of where we are. I mean, it's like being in a college algebra class. You've done graphing, and it's the same type of thing, pretty much. Okay, so let's see here. So when we double-click that button, oh no, not that button. It's in the component tray. You have to double-click the document object, the print document object, and the default event is the print page event. And this is where all the nitty-gritty is going to be, really all the code to create that document, construct that document. So I said I would start up at the top, and I've created a bitmap object, just a picture format type. You don't hear a lot about the bitmap anymore these days, but you can still use those objects, obviously, in this case. And I'm going to construct that bitmap from our usual image.from file. I do have that cookie banner in the debug folder. And so what I'm going to do is draw that image across the top using E.Graphics. I think I said in a previous video, you can think of E.Graphics as like a little artist who can draw pretty much anything for you. So I'm using E.Graphics to draw this object, this banner, starting at the 0, 0 position, which is right here at the very top. Okay, that's 0, 0 coordinate. And then I'm saying, okay, make this thing 850 pixels wide, which is spanning the whole document, and about 250 pixels tall, which is, you know, the top part of that document. So that's how we get the banner there. And then from there, I'm ready to create a couple of fonts. The big font is going to be for the your order here, and also at the bottom when we say thank you for supporting. So that's the big font in Times New Roman 24. You can experiment with other font faces, but I just go with Times New Roman, Arial, you know, the usuals. And so we have a 24-point font and then a 14-point font for the text for the order items. Okay, so I'm creating my X and Y coordinate variables, and I'm setting them to 100X, 300Y. And I probably eyeballed this and decided that was a good position. So 100X is 100 pixels in, 300Y is 300 pixels down, okay, from the top. So this is where the X and Y coordinates start out. And I use our little artist, E.Graphics, to draw string your order in the big font in a green brush. You can see that at that X and Y position that I mentioned. So fairly straightforward. The hard part is keeping track of the X and Y and where you are in the document. Okay, so with that part done, I have adjusted the X and the Y to get a little space. Okay, see the X is 150. You can see I bumped in about 50 pixels, and then the Y is 350. I went down 50 pixels, so now the XY position is here. And I'm ready to start zipping through that list box and printing the items that I wanted to buy one at a time. And also, while I'm doing it, do you notice I have an order total at the bottom? That's a cumulative total. I'm doing that in my loop as well. I'm getting that that grand total. As I'm looping through the list box and printing the items one by one, I'm also accumulating the total of the things that I wanted to buy. And okay, so looking at the code here, we have that total variable that I'm going to be using as an accumulator in the loop. And then I'm just going to lay down a for loop. Look at, I start at 0, obviously, because I'm going to be zipping through that list box, and list box indexes start at 0. And this is interesting. I'm not sure if we ever talked about this, but the list box has an items collection. We know that, but that items collection has a count property, which would reflect how many items are in that list box, which makes sense. If I'm going to zip through this list, I only want to go the number of times that there are items in that list. Okay, if there are 5 items in the list, I want the loop to go 5 times. If there are 10 items, I want the loop to go 10 times. So this count property is really handy in this case. Okay. All right. So now that we have the loop set up, I'm just going to call upon eGraphics drawString to draw that text coming out of the list box. Now, I don't know if we've seen this type of syntax yet, but the list box, we know it has that items collection to which reflects the items that are in that box. But you can, I started the whole list box unit by saying I love talking about list boxes while we're talking about arrays, because list boxes are like arrays that you can see on the form. And this demonstrates that perfectly, because I am using array notation, those square brackets, array notation, loop counter as array index, right, little I, to access each of those items in the list. Okay, I do have to put a toString on it. It's just, just kind of a quirk about the list box, but just calling upon that items collection and say, hey, you items collection, I'm going to treat you just like an array, because that's really what you are when it comes down to it. Even though we don't call you an array, we call you the list box. We can treat that like an array. So there's your syntax right there. If you want to pick through that list box and print one thing at a time using a loop, treat it like an array. Okay, and then we're home free. I'm using the smaller font in a black brush, and we have the X and Y coordinates. Now, you have to realize, let me get my document back. Inside the loop here, okay, I print one thing, and then I have to advance the Y coordinate to move on to the next thing, and so on. So with each iteration of the loop, I'm advancing the Y coordinate like 20 pixels. Okay, so that's what that's about. Y equals whatever's already in there, but add 20 to it. That'll keep it moving down the page. And then also, I talked about doing a cumulative total. You may recall, I know we haven't looked at this program in a while, but I had this to buy array, which represented the cart. I'll show you, it's way up at the top here. This is the to buy array, that when the user throws an item into the cart, we're keeping track of the prices of those items so we can get a grand total at the end. So that's what that's all about, just this kind of separate array. So I'm zipping through that also and adding up all of the prices that are in there. Okay, and then that's it for the loop. All right, now at this point, the Y is about here. Okay, X is here, Y is about here. I'm going to get a little space in here and then draw a line. All right. So there's my little bit of space, 20 pixels. And now I'm going to draw a line. Again, E.Graphics can do that for us easily. He wants a pen, which is fine. I can, the pen is just an enumeration, like the colors collection that we use, and the brushes. You can just pull a color from that collection. And then, obviously a line is just a distance between 2 points. So if you look at this, we have the x1, y1, x2, y2. So I'm just hard coding a couple of points here. Well, not, the y is obviously in a variable, but I just eyeballed that and thought, okay, well, this looks like it's about 150 pixels in for x, and then whatever y is at the moment, then that'll get the first point. And then I thought, okay, y is going to be the same, but x is going to be, what did I say, 475? Yeah, 475. So that'll give you the distance between those 2 points. Okay. And then I'm just going to add a little more space and print the total. And then I'm going to go way to the bottom, maybe 1,000 on the y coordinate, and print that. Thank you for supporting us. So here it is, little space, printing the total. And then way down at the bottom, where y is 1,000, I'm going to do the thank you for supporting us. So, yeah, it's a little code intensive, but as long as you keep track of where you are on that page, you should be okay. So there you have it. There's another printing example for you.